Hey everybody, welcome to the first ever Batch Leads Masterclass. I'm RJ Bates III, and I'm super excited for this opportunity. I'm grateful for Batch for giving me the opportunity to come in here, showcase all of the different processes that we've built around this amazing tool. I'm excited to be able to show you step by step how we've kind of built out our Batch Leads program, how we utilize it. I want to set a couple of expectations just getting started here as people are joining. We'll give everybody a couple minutes just to get as many people in here as possible. But the expectations of this is, and make sure you're in the right place. I want to value your time. I appreciate you taking the time and trusting me to show you how to use this program. We're going to go through step by step setting up a brand new Batch Leads account. Okay, so we're going to go through the account setup phase. We're going to go through our initial text templates that we use and why we use those. We're also going to share that with you today so you have those text templates. We're also going to go into our quick replies, why we use those quick replies and how we use those quick replies. Then we're going to go into list pulling and list stacking, which I think there'll be quite a few questions on that. That's probably the number one question that I get asked from people is, how are you pulling your list? Why are you pulling your list the way that you are? Then we're going to go into, after we've pulled that, utilizing the properties tab inside of Batch Leads to stack that appropriately, specifically choosing the properties that we're going to be doing marketing to. Then we're going to go ahead and skip trace that. We're going to set up our SMS campaigns as well as our direct mail campaigns. We're going to show you how we use the comping tool. And then, of course, we're going to try to lock up some deals. That'll probably be on Friday. Okay. So over the course of this week, we're going to go step by step through that whole process. All right. Some days are going to go a little bit longer depending upon y'all's interaction, as well as just making sure you fully understand how to use the tool. Today will probably be a little bit of a quicker a session, just because today's objective is we want to go through the initial count setup, the initial text templates, and the quick replies. Okay, so I'm going to share that Google Doc with you so you have those initial text templates and those quick replies, and just get that set up. Tomorrow we'll go into the Twilio integration to make sure that we're prepared to start texting later this week, and then we'll start list pulling there. So that being said, if that is what you're here for, that's what we're going to teach you. I just want to make sure everybody understands what the objective is for this master class. So that being said, also shout out to Batch for hooking us up with this awesome platform that we're using here, AirMeet. It's very cool. I want to kind of play around with it a little bit. So make sure I can show these messages here. Show on stage. There we go. Will this be recorded? Can't make all of the calls. Hugh, yes, all of these will be recorded. And as long as you show me that you have signed up for your Batch Leads account, then yes, you will get the recording. Okay, because that is one of the criterias. Criteria is you have to have a Batch Leads account, which if you're on this call and you don't have a Batch Leads account, I don't quite understand why you're on this call. Like, I'm only going to be showing how to use Batch. Okay. And second, if you're here, obviously you've registered. Those are the only two steps. Okay. How can we show you? There we go. How can we show you that we have the account? Brandon, it's going to be through your email. I'm going to be able to reverse engineer that. Honestly, what we're going to do is everyone that has a Batch Leads account that's registered, they're going to get all of the recordings on Friday. So they're just going to get emailed the recordings, and it's pretty easy for us to reverse engineer as long as it's the same email that you signed up. If it's a different email that you signed up with, you can email me at rj@titaniumprops.com, but we'll go into that a little bit more as we get along in the calls. Okay. Let's see here. Who else do we got? We got Alex Sanders from San Antonio. What's up, Alex? Jason Sims, Dara, Jermaine. Man, this is super cool to see this many people showing there. Brandon, we had close to 600 people register for this, which is incredible. And the cool thing about this is that it gives us the opportunity to really show this tool that has changed our lives. I mean, the bottom line is, and some people, you know, they give affiliate marketing a bad rap. They say, well, the only reason why you're doing this is because Batch is willing to pay you. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Okay, PropStream's willing to pay me, Propelio's willing to pay me. Pretty much any system out there nowadays has some kind of affiliate program, and you don't see me pushing that as much as Batch. And here's the reason why. This is the program that allowed me to do 50 deals in 50 states in 50 days. This is the program, the system that allows us to consistently do 60 to 70 deals a month. 40% of our deals comes from SMS marketing, and then another 20% of those deals comes from Batch Dialer, which that data for Batch Dialer comes from Batch Leads. So you're talking about 60% of our business monthly comes from the Batch systems. And that's why I'm so passionate in showing the system and making sure everyone fully understands how to use it. Let's see, Mr. Rodster, you've got your hand raised there. Just shoot your question there in the chat, and I'll make sure to answer it. So good morning to everyone that's joined us. We've got a little bit over 100 people in here. Ed Long says he's trying to sort between Batch Leads and PropStream, leaning towards Batch Leads. Here's what I'll tell you, Ed. PropStream is a valuable tool in and of itself. The difference is the amount of business that you could do inside of Batch Leads, okay? And it's all encompassing from the aspect of I can pull my list, I can keep all of my data and sort it and stack it and track it in live time. I can comp inside of this more accurately now than you can inside of PropStream. I can also do my SMS marketing. I can also do my direct mail campaigns. And for those reasons, that's why Batch Leads is a more powerful tool today than PropStream. So if you're leaning between those two, I think this class, this masterclass, will make you make your decision a lot easier. Okay. So that being said, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop this link for this Google Doc in the chat for you guys. Okay. And this link right here, okay, this link is the link to our SMS templates and our quick replies. Okay, so I want to go ahead and get started here. Let me share my screen. All right, so this is going to be a brand new Batch Leads account that we've to date only used for comping. Okay, nothing else is done inside it. We have no data in here. This is going to be the account that we're going to use. It's one of my actual acquisition managers accounts because we do have multiple accounts for our team at this point. And we are going to set everything up in here. Before I do that, I want to answer this question. Is that armor in the background representing, I think that's Ephesians 6:11? No, it's not. That would be nice if it was, but my students have affectionately nicknamed me the Viking Wizard. And so some people have bought me, Cassie bought me the Viking helmet. Patrick bought me one of the axes. Cassie and Elijah bought me another one of the axes. So that's what that's back there for. All right. So can you email the Google link? I'm at work. Yes, I will make sure the Google link gets emailed to everyone that registered as well. Okay, that will go out later today. Rodster asked, is SMS same as text marketing? Yes. And if so, isn't text marketing frowned upon? I'm confused. No, we're going to go through all of that. I'm glad you're here because those are great questions, but we're going to go through that on this class. All right. So getting back to our account here, blank canvas. We're going to go to our profile first, and then we're going to go down to SMS settings. Okay. The first thing that you need to do is go to markets. and you need to add a new market. You need to decide what market you're going to be doing marketing in. Okay. Now you can add multiple markets in here. For the case of this masterclass and where we're going to be doing marketing later this week, we have decided that we're going to do Indiana and we are going to do Fort Wayne, Indiana. Okay. And then I'm going to put the call forwarding number down. It's very important. The call forwarding number needs to be the phone that is your acquisitions rep or whoever you want answering the phone for incoming calls from your SMS marketing. Okay. So for this, I'm putting down our office line, which means it will go, my assistant will be able to answer the phone and then she'll be able to forward it to the appropriate person. While I'm live on these videos, I will be able to have her forward those calls to me. And then outside of that, she'll forward it to my acquisitions managers. Okay. So it's very important that you understand what this call forwarding number is for. It is there so you can answer those incoming calls. And here's the thing. It is very important that you understand these incoming calls are going to be some of your best leads from SMS marketing. Okay. So we're going to add that. That automatically got approved. Sometimes you will see right here, instead of a blue check mark, it's going to show you more of like a little wheel. It looks like it's taking some time. Typically, it takes the batch team around 5 to 10 minutes to approve a new market. Okay. Let me answer a couple of questions here real quick. I'm going to stop presenting for a second while I answer these. Phil says, our 7-day free trial doesn't allow us to access the SMS setting. That's correct. The 7-day free trial, the reason why we wanted to offer that, guys, is because we wanted you to be able to set up your account and not be charged anything while we're showing you how to use it, so you can make an appropriate decision for your business on if this is where you want to move forward. Okay. That being said, if you are ready to move forward with Batch Leads, you can use the promo code Titanium in all caps, and it gives you half off your first month. That's another option for you as well, especially if you're ready to move forward. Okay. Tiffany says, we put a call forward number that goes directly to a generic voicemail because it seems like a lot of the calls are just angry people. What volume are you texting daily? Okay, so let me deal with that first statement. Dealing with angry people, that's our job. Okay. You forwarding it to a generic voicemail, I completely disagree with, wholeheartedly, for many reasons. If you go watch my TikTok, so you will see there are quite a few that angry people. Why are you texting me? How did you get my phone number? What's skip tracing? And then it converts into a contract. Okay. Now, are you going to get the people that are just purely angry? Absolutely. But going through those phone calls is a very small percentage of time in your day to get to the one person that sees a text message that says, I want to buy your house, and they're absolutely needing to sell their house. They don't want to text. They're going to pick the phone up and they're going to call. Now, if it goes to a generic voicemail, you're talking about they have to leave a voicemail for you to call back, and then you're going to have to check the voicemail, and then you're going to have to call back. And the whole time, there could be someone else like me that also is texting that person that answers the phone and locks that contract up. Don't add a barrier to entry to getting a contract because you don't want to deal with angry people. That's just part of acquisitions. Okay. Tiffany asked, do you do any other marketing other than SMS? Absolutely. We do cold calling and PPC. Okay. 40% of our deals come from PPC, 40% from SMS, and 20% from cold calling. Okay. When a person calls, how do you know what property the person is calling about? So I'm going to show that later on. You can reverse engineer it by searching the phone number in there. Other thing is you could just be fully transparent. You can just ask them what property they're calling about. Okay. James Dunwoody, are these going to be recorded for my VAs to watch? Absolutely. You will be receiving the recordings. Okay. What's the difference from Podio and Batch Leads? Podio is a CRM. BatchLeads is a system that allows you to pull data, skip trace, send SMS, send direct mail, comp. This is much more for marketing and a whole business system, whereas Podio is just going to be a lot closer to just a CRM. Okay. Bob says, if you have a VA texting and calling, would you forward the calls to them? What if they're not actively texting or dialing? No, we don't have our VAs receive the incoming calls. We're going to put that to a closer. Okay. Okay. Juan, yes, we're going to show you all of that. All right, guys. So I'm gonna post on answering some questions here for a second. You guys can continue to ask them. We are gonna have a Q&A session each day. Okay. So just to reiterate, I know some of you people joined in a little bit late. Today, our objective is to go over the account setup, the initial text templates, and the quick replies, which I have shared with you. I'm gonna share it again in the chat just so you guys have it. This Google Doc right here, I see there's quite a few people. There's 40 people already on the document. This is where you're going to be able to get the initial text templates and the quick replies. Okay. We're going to set the account up. Tomorrow, we will go into the Twilio integration as well as the list pulling. Then we're going to go into stacking for strategic marketing, skip tracing, setting up our SMS and direct mail campaigns, go over the comping tool, as well as we will start live sending text messages to try to lock up some deals. All right. Appreciate it. Let me share this again. So we've got our market set up here, Fort Wayne, Indiana. All right. The next thing we need to come to is our SMS templates. And this is what you guys need to do with the Google Doc that I share with you. You need to add a template. Okay. The template name is just going to be primary. That is what you will select when you set up your SMS campaign. It will ask you which initial text you want to send out. You'll just select primary. And then you're going to take each one of these on that Google Doc and you're just going to copy and paste them in. Now, here's the thing with these initial text templates, okay? You see the first one, hi, first name. I tried giving you a call. Did you receive my voicemail? The whole point in these initial text templates is that we are wanting to start a conversation. Okay. That is what we are attempting to do. Get them to respond to us so we can initiate that conversation. Now, one of the things that we can do here is the message spinner. Okay. So the message spinner allows us to have an additional text template with just changing a few of the words. So the option that it gave us here is hi, first name. I took a stab at calling you. Did you accept my voicemail? Okay. So you see here, instead of I tried, it's took a stab, okay, at calling you instead of giving you a call. And then did you accept my voicemail instead of did you receive my voicemail? Okay. I'm going to change that. I don't really like the did you accept my voicemail? I'm going to stick with the did you receive my voicemail? Okay. And we'll just leave that in there. If we ever see that it's not working out well, we can always remove an initial text template if we need to. Okay. So now we're going to go down and we're going to add a second template. And again, we've got 25 initial text templates that we're going to add here. That's on that Google Doc that I share with you guys. Okay. Hey, first name, did you receive my letter? Do the message spinner again. Hey, first name, did you accept my letter? I don't really like that one, to be honest with you. This one I'm going to save. This one I'm not. Okay. Now we'll move down to the third one. Is this first name? I hope I have the correct number. We'll try it again. Is this first name? I truly want to believe that I have the right number. Again, I'm not going to save that one. It feels too much like a text template that's written by either AI or a VA. So, Lionel, here we go, buddy. It's in the chat. It's the Google Doc right there. Okay. So for anybody that doesn't know, the Google Doc is shared inside of the chat. All right, the fourth one. Hey, first name, did you receive my voicemail? Just checking in with you to see when we can connect. Try the message spinner again, see if it's light. Did you accept my phone message? Simply checking in. Don't like that one again. I don't like if it doesn't sound how you would normally talk. Did you accept my phone message? Again, it's being written by AI. So, hi, first name. How's your day going? I hope I have the correct number. Hi, first name. How's everything turning out? Trust I have the right number. That's okay. We'll add that one. It's important that we have as many text templates in here to avoid our phone numbers getting marked as spam. So that's why we want to give as many options as possible. I've been attempting to contact you. Is presently an awful time. How about is now okay? So did you guys see that? I can always go in and I can rewrite it however I want to make it sound a little bit better. All right. Let's go to template number 7. Hey, there's his first name. No need to add a spinner to that. That's pretty generic. Hey, hi, first name. Are you currently at? I'm good with that one. Somebody, okay, Bob asked, can you explain what a message spinner is? It's just changing the words, and it just gives you another text template to avoid your phone numbers getting marked as spam. That's the whole point in us adding this many in here. And honestly, this is probably another top question that I get asked a lot is, what are your text templates? And most people are only using the bare minimum of 10. A first name, simply inquiring with you. Have you given any longer thought? No, that's not going to be one. Hi, first name. Did you receive my last voicemail? I hope all is well and that I have the right number. Hi, first name. Did you accept my last voice message? I trust everything is great and that I have the right number. Did you hear my last voice message? There you go. Let me use here. All right, move on to number 11. Did everybody receive the Google Doc for the text templates and the quick replies? Just want to make sure that everybody's received that. Okay, if you haven't received it, it's inside of the chat. Do you ever do ones with misspelled words to see if it hits better? We do. I'm going to show that here in just a second. Phil Long says, sorry if you already answered this question, but are you sending these opening texts even if you didn't call and leave a voicemail? Yes, that's absolutely what we're doing. And part of it is that we are also cold calling these people consistently. So I'm going to go into that once we get into the marketing campaigns and showcasing how we're managing our data there. Will there be a case where it is a lie and we have not called that person yet? Yes. But that's just, it's not intentional. We are also cold calling these phone numbers just as regularly as we are sending out text messages. All right, we're down to 19. And as you can see, the majority of these text templates are just very generic, just different ways to word pretty much the same thing to start a conversation. Here's another piece of advice in regards to this. You should always be trying to come up with your own text templates in your own words that are saying a generic, open-ended question that gets them to respond to you. Okay. You should not just put in these 25 and then just stop there and trust that these are going to work forever and ever. Amen. Okay. You need to be able to come in here and regularly change these. Okay. For example, one that I've tested out just to see, and it gets a lot of responses, sometimes positive, sometimes very negative, is this one right here. Roses are red, violets are purple. I want to pay $signs for address. What say you? Okay. Now here's the reason why it says violets are violets are purple. Blue is a spam word down here that you can't use. Okay. So the not recommended keywords, all of these down here at the bottom are words that we need to avoid. Okay. And some of them are very common. Right. Okay. Blue, cash, interested, purchase, investor, not sure, looking. Okay. A lot of these are things that I don't know that people realize they can. Owner is another one. So if you go back up here, one of our templates it just clearly asks, are you the manager of address? Now, actually, what I'm trying to say is, are you the owner of address? But we can't use the word owner because it would potentially be marked as spam. So we say, are you the manager? Okay. So this is the reason why we do this. Now, if we click on the message spinner, are you the supervisor of address? I'm perfectly fine with that. So we will save that spinner. Okay. Do you have properties in city you aren't happy with? Let's check this message spinner. Do you have properties in city you're upset with? Okay. Now let's go down and check. Is properties one of these word? Okay. Property is. I don't see properties. So that's the reason why we have that. Okay. Let's try this one. Can you assist me with tracking down who to speak with concerning address? Okay. Hey there, hope you're having a great day. Hey there, trust you're having an incredible day. Save that one. Sent you a postcard about address. Did you receive it? I sent you a postcard about address. Did you get it? Sure. So point being is that's how you add in your initial text templates and using the message spinner tokens there. Okay. Now the backup text message, someone asked about this. Do you ever try misspelled words? This is the one that we use here. Hi, and we put the apostrophe in the wrong spot. I've been trying to reach you. Is now a good time? To be honest with you, this is the one that gets the majority of negative responses because they say, listen, you don't even know how to have appropriate grammar, but we still use it. Okay. So now I'm going to save this template and then boom, there's all 25 of our initial text templates as well as a backup message. Total, we have 35 messages, that initial text templates that we send out there. Okay. So that being said, do you guys have any questions in regards to this process? Phil asks, can you use those words after the initial message? Okay, that's a great question because the carriers are getting smarter as we move along. And so what we've noticed was even sometimes with our quick replies on the second or third message, they were marking it as spam then, and it wasn't getting delivered. So you do kind of have to try to change up even your quick replies at time, but it's not near as common as it is on the initial text, Phil. Okay. Juan asks, what is a backup message? To be honest with you, I don't fully know what the purpose is in the backup message. I know that there's very few times where that is sent out in replacement of the initial text templates. I don't know when the algorithm and the AI of the BatchLeads program decides to use that. But it's heavily in the minority side of things. Okay. How do you know you're being marked as spam? So Twilio will actually show you, and then also it'll show you if your numbers are being marked as spam. And another way to check that is your delivery rate. So we'll go over those KPIs once we start sending out text messages. So you'll be able to see that. Prior to the whole 10 DLC registration and the third-party integrations, our delivery percent was probably in the high 70s, sometimes in the high 60s. Okay. Now, due to the changes that we've been made and also suppressing how many texts we're sending out daily, we're in the mid 90% range of delivery rates. Okay. All right. Cameron asks, when do you decide to pick up the phone and call from a text conversation? That's going to depend on the seller. The seller is going to be the one that kind of leads this conversation, lets us know if they want to continue having the conversation via text and if they'd rather have a conversation via phone call. Cameron, the other thing is you'll be here next week at the Titanium Crucible, so you'll also understand the full marketing flow. And it doesn't really matter because we're going to be calling them and texting them regardless. Okay. Let's see. Brandon says, what's frustrating is the word familiar. Batch says the word liar is a block word. So familiar falls under that. So I have to type the word as misspelled. Do you experience this with words that should work? Yes. And again, I know it's frustrating, but that's not a batch thing. That's batch just trying to help you with your delivery rate. And familiar might also be one of the words that just because it's not on the site doesn't mean there aren't other words that they're tracking as well. Okay. Can I rewatch this class when it's finished? Yes, you will be receiving video recordings. Can I set something like this up for my cash buyers list? Yes, we have used SMS marketing for cash buyers lists many times. So yes, absolutely. Do you only do one spinner per message? Honestly, with us having 25 initial text templates and then on this having 35, I mean, our goal is to send less than 500 texts per day. So that's plenty of initial text templates. If you see that you have a higher increase or lower delivery rate coming up in a campaign, you can always go back and add more if you want. But we're not currently doing more than the one. Okay. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? Once you send out a text blast list, how do you remove the uninterested customers from your cold calling list? We don't. But just because they say they're not interested via text message doesn't mean that they don't want to sell a house. Okay. What we've seen is that there are people out there. I'll give you a perfect example. Okay. During the 50-day challenge, I sent a text message out to a seller in Baltimore, Maryland. He immediately opted out. He just is, at the end, it had the opt-out message. It says, type quit to stop receiving these messages. And he just typed in quit, and I couldn't text him anymore. He opted out. He got moved to the DNC automatically. Okay. Now, if that had been a market that we were regularly marketing to, and we were trying to get deals outside of me doing the 50-day challenge, that would have gone to our batch dialer account, and our VAs would have cold called that, and we would have had a conversation with them. But we didn't. Okay. But someone came to me. His name's Armando Olivares. And he cold called that same person roughly at the same time as I sent that text message. And he answered the phone and he contracted that deal and he made $105,000 assignment on that. Okay. Now that's just one of many examples that I have, but that for that reason alone, I mean, a 6-figure assignment proves that just because someone sends a text message and they say, hey, I'm not interested in selling, does not mean that they don't actually want to sell their house. There's still a very good chance that they want to sell that house. It's just maybe they bad timing, maybe they don't like texting and they much prefer a phone call. For example, I don't like being cold called, but I would love if I had a house that I need to sell, or if I'm actively wanting to buy something or sell something through text message, I'm the great person to be marketed to that way. Whereas my partner, Elijah, he's very different. He would much prefer to be cold called than text message. He'll never respond to the text message, but being cold called, you can get him that way. Okay. All right. Does BatchLeads integrate with Podio or other CRMs? I have a smartphone set up now, but want to switch to Batch. Absolutely. It does integrate with Podio or any other CRM out there. Okay. Bob, if you get a warm or hot lead from a text, do you edit your list before you send it to Batch Dialer to remove warm and hot leads so you don't call a lead you're already working on? No. Again, not worried about that. Okay. Those are issues that are going to be so few and far between. And to be honest with you, I can't think of a scenario where we were texting someone and then because we cold called them that irritated them or they didn't want to sell their house to us. I can't think of a scenario where that's actually happened. The other thing, Bob, is I want you to do me a favor. I want you to remove the words warm lead from your vocabulary. Okay. It's either a lead or it's not. If you don't agree with that, please tell me the precise temperature when warm becomes hot in regards to a lead and what thermometer your team is using to gauge that temperature. Phil says, I'm currently sending 2,000 texts per day using a different service. Why do you stop at 500 texts per day? So we don't get marked as spam. And it's less than 500 per acquisitions rep or account. That's why we have multiple accounts. So as a company, we're sending out more than that. The other thing is we've seen that we don't need to increase our volume in texting to be able to be effective in it. Okay. So previously, if you go back to the 50-day challenge, we were somewhere in the range of 2,500 initial texts to a contract. Now where we are somewhere in the range of like 300 to 400 initial texts to getting a contract, partially due to us being more hyper focused on our list stacking and the data that we're actually texting, but also because we're more focused on our delivery rates, the response rates, increasing that with our initial texts, and then just making sure our phone numbers aren't getting marked as spam. So that's the reasons why we're doing that. Warm would be wanting to sell in the next 3 to 6 months. Hot would be next 1 to 3 months. It's either a lead or it's not a lead. That's how we do it. Because if they want to sell in 3 to 6 months, we're probably going to text them and cold call them somewhere in the range of 6 times. And things can change. So I don't ever trust anything that they're going to say in that regard. Okay. All right. Let's see. What's the best list that you're stacking right now? We're going to go over that later this week. Okay. Not going to go into list one right now. Just want to talk about the initial text templates. Let's move on to the quick replies. So let me share my screen. I don't know why I muted myself. Again, you're going to get the recordings of these. So if you can't make it later this week, you will be able to see that list pulling video when I send you the recordings. Okay. So let's go to quick replies and add these in, which are also on the Google Doc. I'm going to share that link one more time for you guys in the chat so you have it. Make sure everybody has that Google Doc. All right. Add quick reply. All right. Primary message. Now, please don't do what some people have done. The copy and paste says, this is RJ Bates III, and I'm interested in purchasing address. Are you looking to sell? Please change the RJ Bates III to your name or whoever's actually sending out the messages. I've actually had people continue to send it out this way. So please don't do that. Okay. So this is if when you send out the, hey, did you get my voicemail? Or, hey, do I have the correct phone number? And they say, who is this? This is the response that you give them. This is Brandon Mix, and I'm interested in purchasing address. Are you looking to sell? Okay. Add the new message, the new quick reply. The next thing I want to put in is the questions. Okay. So we're going to title that questions. These are going to be the 4 questions that we ask here at Titanium before we can make an offer. Is the property tenant or owner occupied? If rented, how much is the rent? And how would you rate the condition? Perfect, good, ugly, or scary? Okay, these are the questions that we ask before we make an offer. Nothing more, nothing less. I'll go into that in just a second. The next one is going to be quick offer. I can give you an offer fairly quickly if we can go through a couple of questions. Is that okay? So say you send the initial text and you say, this is RJ Bates III. I'm interested in purchasing address. Are you looking to sell? And they say, make me an offer. This is the quick reply that you send them. I can make you an offer fairly quickly if we can go through a couple questions. Is that okay? And then before they respond, I send them the questions. Is the property tenant or owner occupied? If rented, how much is the rent? And how would you rate the condition? Okay. The next thing is can you tell me a little bit about the property so I can determine my offer? Okay. I use this if they are adamant about just, hey, make me an offer. Okay. What's your offer? And they don't want to answer these 4 questions. I come back with this. Can you tell me a little bit about the property so I can determine my offer? Okay. And then the next thing is how did you get my phone number? The only thing about this one is you might have to change the motivating criteria. What I mean by that is I had pulled a list of absentee owners and skip traced it to see if those owners may want to sell that property. You may have to change that to vacant property owners or tired landlord owners or pre-foreclosure or whatever. And you can always do that before you send it. You can just click in the box, delete absentee, and type in what you need. Okay. These are the quick replies that you are going to use right here. Okay. Now, want to make sure that we understand why we're using these quick replies and how we're using these quick replies. Okay. When it comes to our business in particular, we are nationwide and we're virtually wholesaling. So we're not going on appointments. We're not wanting to go out and view the property prior to that. And so that's why our messages are very generic from the condition standpoint, right? We're not going to go into detail of asking about the age of the roof and the HVAC and when did you last remodel it and the flooring and the paint and all of that. Okay. I just want to understand, how does the seller think the condition of this property is? Okay. Typically, I would say almost 90% of the responses are going to be the property is in good condition. Okay. If they are claiming that the property is in good condition, then in my opinion, that means it needs a cosmetic rehab. That's how we're estimating that. Okay. When they say it's in ugly condition, I'm thinking that means cosmetic rehab plus probably some of the systems, right? That means it's probably going to need some HVAC, maybe a roof, maybe the drywall is damaged with holes or something along those lines. Something a little bit escalated from just the simple generic flooring, bathrooms, kitchens, fixtures. Okay, that's what I consider good condition and a cosmetic rehab. And then scary, if it's in scary condition, I'm probably going to ask a little bit more about it. Like, hey, is it falling down? Is it condemned? What exactly is going on? And that's how we're going to kind of determine what our repairs are. And then that's what we're going to base our offer off of that response. Okay. The other thing is when we're doing acquisition, specifically through text message, and the way that we pull our list. Okay. And we'll go into that a little bit tomorrow when we go into the list pulling. It's important to understand the avatar of the seller. Okay. So we're going to be going after a lot of the lower tier landlords in that median price point in the area. And so from that perspective, they probably have a number that they have in mind that they're willing to sell at, or that they have to sell at. Okay. They just probably have a number that it's like, we already are in it for this much, and this is what we have to get to even consider selling it. So we always ask before we make them an offer, did you have an asking price in mind? Okay. So ideally, the way that this would go is initial text sent. They ask something along the lines of, who is this? We're then saying, this is RJ Bates III, and I'm interested in purchasing address. Are you looking to sell? They say, yes, I am. We ask the questions. Is the property tenant or owner occupied? If rented, how much is the rent? How would you rate the condition? Perfect, good, ugly, or scary? They respond back. It's tenant occupied, $1,000 a month, good condition. I say, did you have an asking price in mind? They say $100,000. And at that point in time, I'm making my offer. I'm either agreeing with their number, or I'm saying I can't do $100,000. The best I could do is $75,000, or whatever our offer is going to be in that. Okay. That is the ideal flow of our SMS marketing right there. Now, of course, there's always going to be, curveballs in those conversations, and maybe it gets a little bit more elongated due to the seller themselves or just not responding. Maybe they only say it's tenant occupied in good condition. They didn't tell you the rent rate. So then we have to go back and ask them about the rent rate before we can make our offer. All of those circumstances happen fairly often. But the ideal scenario is that that's how the flow goes. So are there any questions in regards to the quick replies or the flow of what we're trying to accomplish with SMS marketing? I'm going to drop this Google Doc in the chat one more time for you guys. Bob says, or just keep RJ Bates to get you more leads. I don't know, man. You might get a lot of people saying, hey, I've seen you. You're that asshole on TikTok. So I don't know if you want to keep my name in there. How do you come up with your offer so fast? So again, that's going to come up later this week when we go in to the comp pooling and understanding how to use this tool. It's all done within inside of Batch. So I'll show you that later this week. Brandon asks, at what point are you getting them on the phone? That's up to them. If they call, then I'm going to have the phone conversation. But if they're perfectly fine continuing to have the conversation via text message, hey, that makes my job more efficient, and in their lives, it might be more efficient and less emotional experience for them. So we're just going to keep it that way if they're okay with it. Okay. How long after you pull a list is it contacted? Braxton, in this scenario, we're going to pull the list tomorrow, and then we'll be texting it probably Thursday and Friday. But in a real life scenario, we're pulling a list, we're skip tracing it, we're texting it all in the same day. If someone doesn't respond to SMS, how long do you keep the campaign running to target them? Well, the data is never not used, okay? So I'm going to show that to you guys later in this week, but as we pull data in new markets, we are consistently adding the old data that we have in there, and we're constantly hitting them over and over and over again. So for example, we just ran a campaign in Nebraska. We spent about $250 in skip tracing, and that ended up being a $100,000 plus revenue campaign just from SMS. Okay. Now, the thing about that is the $250 that we spent on skip tracing was for 2,500 records to be skip traced. But the campaign itself was actually closer to 13,000 records because we already had those other records previously skip traced. Okay. So we added those in, and we hit all of our data that we had previously skip traced in that specific state. And I'm going to show you how we do that as well. Okay. Any concern with giving last name and exposing yourself for litigation? No, we don't make fear-based decisions here. I have no problem sharing my name and explaining exactly what I'm doing. Knock on wood, we haven't been sued. We haven't been fined. We've sent out hundreds of thousands of text messages, probably close to 1 million at this point, or maybe even more. I don't even know. And no one's ever had a problem with it. And even if we did, at the end of the day, the amount of money that we make from this marketing technique would far outweigh a small little, fine or settlement that we would have to give somebody. So I'm very open to just following what's worked for us. Tiffany says, are you not worried about getting bad reviews? We try to stay generic until we know they have a house to sell. No, again, no fear-based decisions over here. I don't worry about someone. Someone did that during the 50-day challenge. They went on to Google and they left me a bad review because I sent them a text message. Now when people go and they're interested in selling us a house and they go read our Google and they say, hey, I got this bad review from some dude that got a text message. That's hilarious. I got a text message from you, and then I need to sell my house to you. I'm glad that you sent me a text message. So it almost kind of is a rapport building situation at that point. And even if they do leave a bad review, I'm not ever going to be fearful of that. That's going to happen. Just like I'm going to get sued in business. Someone's going to get pissed off and leave me a bad review, just like people are going to leave me positive reviews. So it doesn't bother me one way or another. Let's see. Bob says, sounds like your acquisition manager is texting since you're making an offer during initial correspondence compared to having VAs text the turnover. Yes. So the only thing that we have VAs do is cold call. And they ask 4 questions, and then they're passing it on to our acquisitions managers. The acquisitions team is solely in charge of our SMS marketing because it's quick and it's efficient, and it's the moment of truth. I mean, why would I want to add a barrier to entry to that? This is not a full-time job for them. It's just one of the many things that we're asking them to do. And I don't want to slow that process down at all. So you have contracted someone without ever speaking to them. Hundreds of times. Yes. When someone is asking for your company name, are you sharing this with sellers? Listen, you can tell if someone is just being slimy and they're trying to sell you, sue you or something. I mean, at the end of the day, we're eventually going to give that to them. But if it's just like the first or second message, though, like, what's your company name? Then no, we're not giving that right then. How many numbers do you use for your 13,000 records? We're going to get into that tomorrow, but on that campaign, we use 5 phone numbers. And it just took us, close to a month to run that campaign. How many VA team members do you have in the SMS department? 0. We don't use VAs for SMS. In Arizona, we have attorneys all the way from Florida targeting DNC violations and even taking it to the broker level for class action multi-million-dollar lawsuits. I have never been sued by someone in Arizona or Florida, and we actually run multiple campaigns in both of those states. Again, you can scrub the list against the DNC. So the DNC violations gets alleviated by using this program. Let's see. How do you avoid getting your number spam? Solomon, you got to go back and watch the recording. You must have been late. It's this Google Doc that I'm sharing with you right here. Okay. The 35 messages. Okay. Make sure you got the 35 messages, and then also make sure you're actually just not spamming people. That's another key. Limiting the amount of text messages that you're sending per account. So we're going to try to keep that south of 500 texts sent a day, and that should help you a lot. What are your 4 questions that your VAs ask? Great question, Benjamin. I was waiting for someone to ask. It's the same 4 questions that we ask in SMS. So it is, do you have a house that you want to sell? What's your asking price? What's the occupancy? And what's the condition? That's their job. Do you use local phone numbers for the different states you're marketing in? Yes. Going back to the beginning, when you set up the market, that's what's important about setting up that market, because that's where you're going to buy the local phone numbers through whatever third-party integration. We're going to use Twilio tomorrow, and that third-party integration is what is going to allow you to buy those local phone numbers in that specific market. So in regards to what we're setting up here, we're going to be setting up our campaign in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Okay. Do you guys have any other questions? Here we go. Emilio says, I heard that if you send an email or text with your first name, there's a bigger chance of not getting marked as spam. That is true. And that's why a lot of our initial text messages are set up similar to that, Emilio, where we're also asking their first name. And yes, you can add in your first name, a lot, hey, did you get your voicemail? This is RJ. I was just reaching out to see if you had a chance to check it or something along those lines. Going back to the initial text templates that I sent you guys, this is a generic start, but you should always be working to improve those and add more, right? Because the more that you can add, the less likely your messages are to be marked as spam and not be delivered. So that's absolutely a great idea. And again, Batch does a great job of updating you and saying, hey, here's another tip that you could do on your initial text templates to help with your delivery rate. Okay. All right. So that being said, guys, that's pretty much all I wanted to go over with today. We're already at an hour. Funny, coming into the day, I thought today was going to be one of the shorter ones. I thought it was going to be closer to 30 minutes. But you guys did a great job of being interactive and asking questions. We're at an hour. So I would say tomorrow, with everything that we've got to go over, we're going to be going over list pulling as well as the Twilio integration. Probably planned for close to an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. So I would just prepare yourself for that. It's going to be very important because the list pulling is literally the foundation for all of your campaigns. And really, when you think about it moving forward, your business moving forward. So tomorrow is going to be critical moving forward. If this is going to be the new way that you do business, using batch leads and understanding how to use this tool, tomorrow's list pulling session is going to be huge. Okay. So make sure that you're engaged tomorrow. You show up on time. We're going to start at 10 a.m. Central sharp. Okay. We're just going to dive right into it, getting our new system integrated with Twilio, and then we're going to pull our list in Fort Wayne, Indiana. All right. Thank you guys so much. No, you should not buy numbers. Do not do anything outside of what I've sent you. And then yes, this Google Doc of the text templates will be emailed to everyone as well. Same link each day. Yes, it should be the same link each day. And this is going all the way through Friday. So 5 days we will be going through this, starting at 10 a.m. Central every single day. All right. See you guys tomorrow, bright and early, 10 a.m. Central. Thank you, guys.